issued forced displacements for the residents of a suburb of southern Beirut. That's a suburb of southern Beirut, forced evacuation orders from the Israelis. This is probably off the back of 2 rockets that had been fired from Lebanon earlier today into Israel, and Israel had retaliated. We're just looking to see if we are able to go to our reporter. Zaina Khadr is live for us on the phone. Zaina, can you tell us what's the latest on these evacuation orders?
Well, Sarah, there is chaos and panic in the Lebanese capital, in particular in the southern suburbs of Beirut. The Israeli army issuing this evacuation order for one suburb, the Hadath neighborhood. This is a densely populated neighborhood. This is the first time since a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah came into force in late November that the Israeli army has issued an evacuation order for a location in the capital, Beirut. You mentioned those two rockets that were launched from Lebanese territory toward northern Israel. One fell in Lebanese territory, the other was intercepted. This is the second time there's been rocket fire from Lebanese territory in the past week, and the third or fourth time since the ceasefire came into force. So we are getting, tensions are escalating between these two warring sides. As of late, Israel has been stepping up drone strikes, airstrikes against what it calls Hezbollah targets. And it doesn't believe it is violating the truce by doing that. But Lebanon has accused Israel of violating the ceasefire because of these ongoing attacks and because of the fact that Israel remains in some positions within Lebanese territory. So this conflict, despite the ceasefire deal, is far from over. So now an evacuation order for a suburb of Beirut. There's chaos, there's panic in the streets. You have to understand people are tired in this country. The war last year devastated and leveled so many towns and villages in southern Lebanon. There were in eastern Lebanon as well as Beirut's southern suburbs. People only now starting to pick up the pieces of their lives. So many people not have homes. So this evacuation order is going to cause more, tension and panic and anxiety for a population which is still coming out of this devastating conflict.
And Zaina, in your experience, why do you think they're looking to target Beirut now? Because that has, as you were saying, been the fear since this tit-for-tat started a few days ago in the last week. Why Beirut?
Well, according to the Israeli defense minister, when you launch a rocket from northern Lebanon towards any town along the border, be it Kiryat Shmona, Metula, it equals Beirut. When rockets were launched last week and they were intercepted, they were launched towards Metula. And at the time, the defense minister said Metula equals Beirut. But what we understand is that the Lebanese authorities were engaged in high-level diplomatic activity with the United States, France. Both these countries are members of the committee monitoring the ceasefire to de-escalate tensions, and they managed to de-escalate tensions and stop Israel from carrying out a strike in or targeting Beirut. But it seems that Israel is using this as some sort of a deterrent. It's too early to say whether or not this is going to be a strike and it is all over, or whether tensions will escalate. But so far, Israel has been acting with little restraint in Lebanon. Over the past 48 hours, they've carried out a number of drone strikes, killing at least 6 people. The Israeli army says that they are Hezbollah operatives. So there's little to stop Israel at this point in time. This strike, we have to wait and see whether the strike in Hadath, if and when it is carried out, will will develop into more tensions, or whether it will just be a one-off incident.
And Zaina, can you tell us more about where Hadass is? And usually when Israel has given these evacuation orders before the ceasefire came about, how long does it take before those strikes can happen?
Well, in the past, during the war, the Israeli army would issue so-called evacuation orders, and people would just pick up whatever they could. But usually, they used to mark certain buildings. They used to say in a map, they used to post a map saying which building they intend to hit. But there is no doubt the whole area, people have to leave the whole area. But usually, in the past, they used to give people at least half an hour. But really, that is not enough time. And that's why there's a lot of gunfire now. People start to shoot in the air as a warning for residents to leave, because not everybody is on social media and they are aware of this evacuation order. Hadass is in the southern suburbs of Beirut, not far from Beirut International Airport. It is a densely populated area, a crowded area. So you could just imagine the panic. And we saw this happen time and time again during weeks of wide-scale Israeli bombardment, targeting areas where Hezbollah supporters live, whether it's southern Lebanon in the cities of Tyre, Nabatiyeh, up in Baalbek in eastern Lebanon, and whether in Beirut's southern suburbs. So this is bringing back memories to people in the capital. I can tell you, people are afraid. Schools are being closed. The schools are telling parents to pick up their children because people are worried that this may not just be a one hit in response to the rocket fire.
And Zaina, have we had any reaction from the Prime Minister? If you can just remind our viewers as well how the government, there's a new government, the changes that have happened, the power dynamics that have happened in Lebanon since this ceasefire.
Yes, since that ceasefire, since that devastating war, Hezbollah has become. There is a new leadership in the country, a new president, a new prime minister. Hezbollah no longer controls the government. The prime minister is not an. We know that from diplomatic sources that there's been American pressure on the authorities to disarm Hezbollah, not just in southern Lebanon, but disarming in that area, but that the Lebanese authorities will not confront Hezbollah across the country and disarm the group, because confronting Hezbollah could lead to internal strife if Hezbollah refuses to do so willingly. And we know that Hezbollah has said their latest position is we will not fully disarm as long as Israel continues to occupy territory in southern Lebanon, and as long as there's no national defense strategy on how to protect the country from Israel. So all these tensions come amid this backdrop, and we are expecting the U.S. Deputy Special Envoy to arrive in Lebanon later next week. And everyone that you speak to here, whether it's officials or diplomats, they say that more pressure will be put on the Lebanese authorities to disarm Hezbollah. And Israel is expected to intensify military pressure in order to achieve this goal.
Okay, thank you very much for all of that, Zaina Khadr.